Usa ka pagtuo, usa ka tingog, usa ka katawhan. Cebu Catholic Television Network.
Maayong adlaw sa tanang namati sa ato ug nagtan-aw karon dinhi sa atong programang Politics and Beyond. Ako si Erik Espina ug siyempre sa lahat ng mga kasangkayan natin, kasimanwa, mga kauturan, mga kaigsunan, mga kapatid, isa na namang oras tayong magsasama-sama tungkol po sa magandang usapin ito dahil may kinalaman ito sa kinabukasan ng ating bansa. Para nis kaugmaon sa atong nasod, kaya ang atong tukion karong adlaw mahitungod nis mga kabataan-unan, our youth, ang mga kabataan natin. Tamang-tama po, makakausap natin. Siya po'y nanirahan dito, nagpuyog yun din sa Kuan, din sa Cebu for 6 to 7 years. Kamausan siya mo Binisaya, pero kanigin siya taga St. Louis University, SLU, dito sa Baguio. So Ilocana ni siya. Pero kuan siya mo'y ako na lang gitawag siyang cluster head, pero ang ako na lang itawagan niya director, kay regional director mo gyud ang angay ang level ani niya. Kuan siya mao ni kauban nato si Ms. Athena Gahite sa National Youth Commission. Good day to you, Athena.
Yes, good morning, maayong buntag sa tanan. Maayong buntag, Sir Erik. Thank you for inviting the National Youth Commission sa imong talk show karong ugma, sir. Karong adlaw, I mean.
Okay lang na kay Ilocano
Yes.
magkaso. Okay ra na. Kaning so you stayed here in Cebu for 6 to 7 years. Would that be fair?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Wow.
Tama.
Oh, and you were working here. You were already part of the NYC. How was that? How did that come about?
I was already part of the National Youth Commission, sir. What happened was there was an opening in Cebu area office, and I tried to apply for that position. And with God's grace, I was able to be chosen for the Cebu area office. That is how I started working in Cebu City, sir. But before I was assigned in Baguio area office, I was the assistant to the director there. And then there was an opening since the director in Cebu area office resigned, so I tried applying for that. And with God's grace, I was able to be chosen to handle the area office of NYC in Cebu.
Before I touch on what does NYC do, anong ginagawa ng NYC, unsay gibuhat sa NYC, unsay mga kinahanglan nga kuan kanang mga kamanduan ana, I will ask you first on a personal note, how was the transfer from Baguio to Cebu, and then how was your 6 years, because Cebuanos would be very much interested to also find out how was your transfer from Baguio to Cebu, and how was your stay for 6 or 7 years?
At first, sir, it was a bit difficult since I was alone in Cebu City. I don't have any relatives or family, so it was also an adjustment on my part to live alone since with my family we are close knit. So there were times also that I was homesick. There were times also that I needed company. But at the same time, I was able to also broaden my horizons in terms of really dealing with people and with the immersion that I had with Cebu City, I was able also to learn the dialect. I was able to learn the culture of Cebuanos per se, and of course the culture in the Visayas since I'm handling Region 7 and 8. So with that immersion, with the 6 years, 6 to 7 years that I lived in Cebu City, since now I'm stranded here in Baguio, so I still cannot travel. So I'm still waiting if I can still go back there, or if ever I will be stationed here already. But with the immersion and with living with the Cebuanos, I was able also to appreciate the culture of the Visayans. Also, with that, it's bittersweet. Actually, to tell the story of being alone at the same time, having friends, having Cebuano friends also is fun actually, since they are sociable people. I'm not very sociable actually, but when I started living in Cebu, I was able to, of course, become friendlier than it
Adjust.
was before. Yes, I was able to adjust, and I learned many things. The culture in terms of the food, yeah, food culture, the dialect itself, I was able to learn. I can understand now about Waray, Ilonggo, and Cebuano. So for me, it's also an advantage since I don't know how to speak those dialects before, but now I can even comprehend, and I can speak a bit. So for me, it's really fun, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully I'll be able to go back there again, sir.
When you came here, where, for the public's knowledge, where is the office of the NYC here in Cebu?
It's located in Escario Street, sir. Near the church, near the church in
Capital,
Escario. Yes,
the
near
Capitol Church
Capitol.
there. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And then, how many? What is the complement of the employees there? How many people work in the office, more or less?
More or less, sir, we're just only two or three. Three staff working in the area, handling two regions, sir.
Wow.
So, yes,
Okay. That sounds like a lot of work, no, for two or three people. But
yes,
I'm sure
sir.
it was very challenging for you, no. Anyway, I'd like to ask you, no. Now we'll go into the interview proper. Give us a little history of NYC. What is NYC? What is the
Yes.
ethos of NYC? Yeah.
Okay, so the National Youth Commission was created by virtue of Republic Act 8044, or the Youth in Nation Building Act, on June 30, 1995. So it's almost 26 years already in existence. So it's the sole policy making body for youth affairs and for youth issues and concerns. So what we usually do, sir, is to make policy recommendations, policy papers, and then we recommend this to our lawmakers for them also to make this into a law. So basically, that's what we do. We also implement programs and projects in partnership with our national government agencies, or our youth serving agencies and youth serving organizations. So basically, what we really do is to provide technical assistance to our youth organizations and youth serving organizations. So, for example, they have trainings or fora, and they need speakers, or they need resource persons for this one. We provide technical assistance for free. We also register youth organizations and youth serving organizations. We do capacity building to our youth, or to our young people. So by virtue of RA 8044, so when we say youth, it refers to people aging 15 to 30 years of age. So yun po yung mandate ng batas, because if we're talking about the UN definition, it's from 10 to 24 years of age, but for Philippine law, it's from 15 to 30 years of age.
So
So
Athena, I'll ask you, Athena, no, because what you brought up, what you stated already impregnated so many questions.
yes, sir.
I might use that term, no? But when you say soul, do you also come up with policy papers or policy positions vis-a-vis the executive branch or the office of the president, or do you just engage on the legislative level? How's that?
Sir, basically, for the sole policy making body, actually we submit this policy recommendations, these policy papers to the Congress, sir. To the Congress, not really directly to the executive branch, sir.
So you don't come up also with recommendations to, let's say, the executive department or to the president himself? Nothing of that sort.
No, sir, no, sir. Basically,
But
we follow
but
the process, sir.
but
Congress.
has it happened before that, let's say, a cabinet member or the president himself says, can you tell the NYC I want their position in this particular issue, especially when it has something to do with students, with the youth, with certain projects, etc., etc.
We do that, sir, but like for example, we have policy papers for students. We give that to the DepEd, sir. DepEd, and then DepEd will recommend it to the president. Ganun po yung process, sir. We don't really directly submit these policy recommendations to the executive branch.
Okay. A while ago, you talked about technical. Does technical also mean you also provide financial support to certain worthy projects?
With that, sir, when we say technical assistance, basically, sir, we're talking about the service. Like we provide resource speakers for youth organizations, training or fora that they are conducting. But when it comes to financial assistance, it's not on the mandate of National Youth Commission. And basically, our fund, also our budget for NYC is very minimal. It's only for really for personnel service and for other programs and projects within the mandate of NYC. So we basically don't give financial aid in terms of, like, if the youth organization needed budget for their trainings, we don't really do that, sir.
But you can help them with the training. You can
Yes,
provide
we
them
can
with
help.
resource speakers.
Yes, we can
When you
help
talk
them.
what form of training do you usually give out to youth organizations or youth clubs, studentry? In what form?
Um, what we do, sir, is like for trainings, we conduct leadership trainings. So basically, with the leadership trainings, we have a partnership with AFP, wherein we conduct the youth leadership summits. So with the funding, it's with AFP, and with the topics and with the resource speakers, it's with NYC. So basically, it's a partnership. We also conduct capacity building in terms of resource mobilization for our Sangguniang Kabataan. So we teach them on how to really mobilize resources in terms of implementing their projects, programs, and activities. At the same time, we also inculcate good governance with our Sangguniang Kabataan. We also conduct adolescent reproductive health trainings with our young adolescents. At the same time, our young people, actually from 10 to 19 years of age. So we conduct these ones or the adolescent sexual reproductive health programs that we have. We also conduct the Teen Pregnancy Summit, wherein we inculcate good values on how to avoid really being impregnated at a very young age, and how to help our young people in terms of this with this issue. We also conduct HIV/AIDS summit. Okay, so basically these are IEC programs that we have. So we inform our young people on the on how HIV/AIDS, teen pregnancy is really an alarming issue in society. Yes, sir. Actually, we conduct a lot of trainings, and more on this ones, more on the good governance, more on health, and more on the leadership side of our young people.
Okay. Now you talked about leadership training. and you are toe to toe with the armed forces of the Philippines.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you in any way also in touch with the DILG or the police hierarchy in order to also request you to undertake certain trainings for especially youth offenders? Di ba? Pwede yun, di ba? Yung mga youth offenders lalo na, no? So has the ILG, has the PNP tapped the NYC in order to help them with for example, the youth offenders or other programs and projects which they think would be beneficial for the youth or the studentry?
Yes, actually, sir, we are also a member of the Regional Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council. At the same time, the Regional Council for the Welfare of Children. So if the agencies as DILG and the PNP, so with the BJMP, with DOJ are members of the said council. So if we have programs and projects to be implemented, NYC is always invited by them to conduct such training, sir.
But you're more involved really with the armed forces than not so much with the ILG or the police right now.
Yes, sir. In terms of the leadership summits that we have, and with the NTFL CAC, sir, we're more involved with the AFP. For the ILG, sir, since NYC now is under the ILG, so basically we are coordinating more often compared before, since before NYC was under the SWD, but under the Duterte administration, we are under already with the DILG. So we work hand in hand in terms of the trainings, the programs, projects for our young people with DILG, sir.
Okay. You talked about capacity building, no? With regards to local SKs, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is where the DILG portion comes in. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We like if we needed regional memorandum or national memorandum for us for our summits, for our capacity building trainings, we request the DILG to release such memorandum, or with the regional directors in the regional level to release regional memoranda for the SKs for our local youth development officers and our local youth development councils to join the summit or the training that we're going to conduct. At the same time, we also request our DILG regional directors to deliver a welcome message or a closing message or a video message during our training, sir.
I can see that you have so many on your plate. No, you have so many things to do. Given that the youth, the studentry, it's practically a big chunk of the entire population of the Philippines, no?
Yes,
And how to be able to touch them, their hearts and their minds, and to guide them would require really a lot of personnel and funding.
Yes, sir.
Natatawa ka, alam ko yun. So I'm bringing that out so that if somebody is listening, they'll understand that we really need to take the youth and the studentry more seriously by putting money where our mouth is, no? So
Yes, sir.
siguro I can imagine kulang kayo ng tao, kulang kayo ng pondo, no?
Tama, sir. Really a lack of personnel and funding at the same time. Since we're only 87 nationwide, and our clientele basically is 30% of our population, that is around 30 million youth in the whole Philippines. So it's also a challenge for us. And one of the policy recommendation actually that we submitted to the Congress is to really create a Department of Youth Affairs. But as of now, it's still on the process, and I'm sure that that is a long way to go. So for now, what we are really do is our mandate, and we are really doing our job as government employees to reach out to our young people, even though it's difficult, and since we also lack personnel and manpower. But it's also a challenge for us, sir. But at the same time, we're still hoping for the best for our future generations to come.
Okay, Athena, we're going to pause for a few reminders, and then when we come back, I'd like to ask you, Ryan Enriquez is he the chair of NYC, and is he even undersecretary for that matter when
Yes, sir.
politics when and politics and beyond returns? Okay, nagbabalik po ang ating programang Politics and Beyond. Kausap pa rin po natin si Espina. Siya po ang tinaguriang cluster head ng Region 7 or 8. Kaya sarili ko po na lang itatawagin na lang siyang director because dapat talagang directorial level na ito si Athena. No? Ryan Enriquez, how is he called? Is he chair of the NYC? Is he undersecretary? Is he assistant secretary? What's his position?
Okay, our head is Ryan R. Enriquez. He is the chairperson and chief executive officer of the National Youth Commission, and is also an holding an undersecretary position with the government, sir. So
Okay, so
USEC po siya.
Okay, I'll ask you now. Is he USEC of DILG or USEC of DSWD?
USEC of DILG, sir.
Okay, so I feel that this is just my impressions. From DSWD, nilipat kayo sa DILG, no? But moving forward, you really would like to have your own respective bureau, your own respective department, and then I can already sense that you need more personnel, no? And
Yes,
then
sir.
a bigger budget.
Yes, true, sir.
Magkano ba? Magkano ba ang budget na binibigay sa inyo ngayon?
With our budget today, I think it's around 35 million, sir.
Kulang na
Yes.
kulang, no?
Yes,
And then
sir.
sa operating expenses nyo pa lang, magkano, what is the percentage ng 35 million na yun?
Yung sa operating expenses, around 50%, 50 to 60%, sir.
So you're just playing around with more or less 15 million, more or less, no? Give and take,
Yes,
diba?
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
kulang na kulang sa mga plano ninyo, no?
Opo.
Okay. So,
If you're going to compute that, parang 50 centavos per youth po yung budget natin.
okay. Dito naman sa sa adolescent sexual education, how do you undertake that kind of do you do that on an LGU basis? How do you undertake this, or do you take this you gather around all the different youth organizations and then you call them up for this kind of an education? What's the arms and the legs of this process?
Sir, with the Adolescent Sexual and Reproductive Health Program, we partner with the DOH and that of the Commission on Population in terms of the capacity building trainings that we're going to give our young people. In the budgetary requirement, actually DOH and POPCOM provide for that. And in terms of the technical side, like for the values formation and that of the topics that we're going to be discussed, it's with NYC. So ganun po yung process, sir. Or sometimes it's a partnership also with DOH. Sometimes they also discuss topics and we assist in the facilitation of the said program, sir.
Athena, do you feel sometimes it's an uphill battle? Kasi I'm sure you've noticed na maraming teen pregnancies na, no? Under
Yes.
this generation, no? So what needs to be done in order to try to make sense out of all this, no? I mean, given this generation, ano dapat ang approach talaga?
It's my personal opinion kasi, sir. In terms of this one, I think it should start really with the family, inculcate really the good values. And for me, kasi my mom was a population officer before, so she taught us really in terms of we are a product of responsible parenthood and that of the adolescent reproductive health program. Yung tinuro talaga ni mother ko is, of course, you have to take care of yourself. You have to respect yourself. And with this one, love, makakahintay po yung love na yan, yung relationships. You have to pursue first your education. So yun po yung palaging tinuturo ni Mama. So I think in terms of really making this program effective, it should start first with our parents and with our family, na sila po yung magtuturo talaga sa mga bata kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin in terms of course, kung adolescent kasi ito yung pinaka-crucial na part ng buhay ng isang tao. But as parents and as educators also, we have to really guide our young people with the issues that they are facing also. Sa akin, it has to start with the family on how they are going to teach
How
their...
Okay. Do you go into some kinds of instructionals on YouTube? And did you download all these seminars so that people can also just click on and then look at and learn from online regarding all these issues that you came out with?
Sir, we have a module for this one. So the
Okay.
NYC already have a module in terms of the adolescent reproductive health
Yes,
and
yes.
good governance actually for our SK. So it's a two-in-one module in terms of health, at the same time in terms of guiding our sangguniang kabataan in their implementation of their PPAs.
What I'm saying is, let's say you undertake this kind of seminars like capacity building, adolescent and reproductive health program, teen pregnancy, or even HIV summit. Have you recorded all these activities
Yes po, sir.
and then downloaded it on YouTube so that students can review this and they can tell other people na you watch this so that you learn something out of it? May mga ganun ba?
It was just launched this year, sir. We already have the SK web portal wherein our young people can access this website. There is an e-learning part on this one wherein there are modules already on the issues and concerns of our young people. So with now, sir, for now, sir, for this year only, we already have these videos and modules wherein our young people can also learn from this one. But before, sir, we don't have that kind of yung sinasabi po ninyong na-record and na-download sa ating YouTube. Ngayon lang po, sir, just this year, February of 2021, tayo nagkaroon ng e-learning website for our young people.
Congratulations. I hope it was not because of COVID na naisip nyo yun. But I mean, how do you talk to this generation in terms of their sense of awakening, the sexual behavior, teen pregnancy, and even HIV, which I will discuss with you later, no? How do you approach them in order to guide them properly, in order to advise them? And then, bakit parang mas marami ngayon ng masyadong gising, ang napupukaw masyado ang kanilang mga pananaw, ang kanilang mga damdamin? Bakit ganun?
Oo, yun sir. Yun din yung napansin natin, that the youth now are more liberated in terms of their ideals, in terms of how they deal with people. So mas liberated compared sa generation before. So yung generation Z kasi yung naglilipa na ngayon. So that is the yung mga anak ng ating mga millennials. So what we do, sir, in terms of communicating with them, since we all know that now they are technology savvy, so more really on technology din yung ginagawa namin. So we create websites for like peer counseling. So we already have a peer counseling website. Kasi alam natin yung mga kabataan ngayon, they prefer to talk to their peers instead of their parents, or to their friends instead of their family. So we already created a website wherein it's a 24/7 website for peer counseling. Like if they have problems or if they have issues in terms of kahit anong issue po, like they feel like they are depressed, they feel like they are lonely, they have problems like nabuntis sila or they need someone to talk to. So we already have this peer counseling, e-counseling website wherein they can talk to our peer counselors 24/7. So meron na din po yan. It's a project with Popcom
Saan ito? Saan ito?
DOH.
Para,
Sir, sa
and then,
sa U4U, this is actually a program of the Popcom.
okay.
We call it U4U. Or the heart-to-heart talk na tinatawag din natin. So mahahanap
Saan nila mahahanap ito?
sa website po ng Population Commission, Commission on Population, wherein they can, yes. So 24/7 po ito, may sasagot po sa kanilang mga queries or yung mga tanong nila. Wherein they, yung peer counselor po natin, sasagot po sa any of their queries or concerns.
I will ask this, no? Later on, this will be my first and then my second question will follow. Have you noticed a trend in terms of pregnancy, umaakyat? I don't know whether sa statistics niyo yung number of HIV positive para sa mga adolescent umakyat din ba? And then suicide when Politics and Beyond returns. Okay, balik ta sa atong programa Politics and Beyond. Kahinabi lang gyapon nato si Espina Gahite na siya sa National Youth Commission ug iyang gidumala ang Region 7 ug 8. So Espina, that was a lot of questions. Have you noticed that teenage pregnancies have gone up? This is a question. HIV also among our youth, umakyat din ba? And then suicide, records of suicide. What does this tell you?
Yes, sir. Okay, so we also have a research done during in 2015. We have the National Youth Assessment Study, and we found out in terms of teen pregnancy, yes, there is really a rise in the cases of teen pregnancy. And for the information of everyone, the Philippines is the gold medalist in terms of teen pregnancy in Southeast Asia. Yes, and for HIV/AIDS, just in 2019, we also have a rise in cases for the first infection for HIV/AIDS. So the Philippines is also number one in terms of HIV/AIDS incidences. So like in one day we have. This is a 2019 data. For one day, we have 38 new cases for HIV/AIDS. And for suicide, it was found out that 25% of our young people have suicidal tendencies, and 14% of that 25% already attempted committing suicide. So yun po yung ating findings sa ating youth assessment study of 2015. So with this one, it's really an alarming data. It's also one of the challenges also of our government agencies on how really to combat the rising incidences of teen pregnancy, of HIV/AIDS, and how are we going to deal really with the mental health of our young people, since we found out that for 1/4 of our young people really have suicidal thoughts, and 14% of these young people attempted already to end their life.
Athena, I'll ask you this, no? How do you talk to this generation, or do we need to engage the parents more? Or are the parents too busy trying to make a living that their sense of heroism is that as long as I can provide you food, shelter, clothing, and education, they're not so focused about the psychological part or the internal behavior patterns that are changing in this generation. So should we be talking to engaging the adolescents more or the youth? Or should we also be commensurately talking to the parents?
I think, sir, it should be it goes hand in hand that we talk to our young people. At the same time, there should be a forum to be conducted with their parents or with their guardians. I think kasi with now most of our yes, it's true that most of the parents now are more engaged in really providing the basic needs of their family. So sometimes nakakaligtaan po nating tignan din yung other side of the coin. Kung ano po ba yung mga issues and concerns ng ating mga anak, yung mga bata. So yes, it's a good suggestion, sir, na if ever we have to really also have this parent-child trainings in terms of the issues that we are facing in society. So dapat po talaga meron. I think we have naman yung parent-child learning education na sinasabi. But it's not really that implemented now. So we need to strengthen those kind of trainings for us also to really help the parents, at the same time really help the child in really dealing with the issues and concerns they are facing.
Education, religion, regardless of what religion is it, are they failing, or can we say that buti na lang nandyan sila because it could be worse? So do we also need to engage worship, religion, as well as the educational system because they may be failing, or they're actually succeeding because it could be worse?
I think, sir, we are thankful that they are existing. But at the same time, we also need to implement really the changes that we need. Like, for example, in terms of education, we already had a evolution actually when it comes to education. From K to 10, we became K to 12.
Okay.
But what I really observed, sir, is in terms of the good manners and right conduct, hindi na po talaga siya natuturo ng ganon. Hindi na siya
Kailangan bang ibalik
as in yes, I think GMRC kasi for me it helped a lot.
Kailangan ibalik yan, no?
Yes, kasi wala na po
grade
yun.
school pa lang. Sa grade school pa lang kailangan ibalik na yun, ano?
Yung good manners and right conduct na subject, actually we had that before, nabibisto na kung ano yung generation natin. But I think kailangan nating ibalik yon, yung good manners and right conduct, yung values education for our young people, kasi ang alam ko sa K to 12 now, it's taught in junior or senior high. So hindi talaga siya part of the curriculum sa elementary education natin or dun sa kindergarten or dun sa nursery education. So as yes, parang masyado na pong late yung ating pag-i-inculcate ng values, yung good values to our young people. So dapat po may changes din dun sa ating curriculum.
Two quick questions because you're talking about changing the curriculum. So legislative yan. Sino ang youth sa Committee on Youth sa lower house at youth naman sa Senado?
Committee on Youth sa lower house, I think it's I forgot the name. But sa higher house po, it's Senator Pacquiao. Kasi siya na po yung pinakabata na senator. So when in terms of the Committee on Youth, siya po yung linalapitan natin ngayon.
Is it possible na at on legislative level, kasi napag-usapan na yan dito sa local level, dito lalo na dito sa Cebu, there were discussions about providing some sort of financial support to teenage mothers. I don't know if that can be a universal practice all over the Philippines. Pero pinag-usapan din niya na baka pwedeng gawin natin na tulungan natin yung mga nabuntis na batang-bata pa. Kasi by helping them, you're also helping their parents. And I don't know whether you've come up with some form of a study or a policy paper on that.
I think, sir, we already had submitted such kind of policy paper. Yung may Senate bill na din po yan dun sa provisions on the RA 10452, the Reproductive Health Law. So yun po yung isang provision po doon is to provide technical assistance to our teenage mother, at the same time yung financial assistance din. So it's
Okay.
it's already in Congress actually, sir. Pero yung reading po niya, for third reading sana po ito, kaya lang po na-hold po lahat ng yung ating mga bills for approval.
Let me ask you something. Are youth organizations required to register with the NYC to be recognized, to have some kind of a legal personality? That's one. And then number two, do you have some kind of a listing? Gaano karami talaga ang mga youth organizations sa buong Pilipinas?
Okay. Yes, sir. With the National Youth Commission, we have this program called Youth Organization Registration Program, wherein we register youth organizations and youth serving organizations for free. Actually, this is for free. Yung kailangan lang po dito, sir, is yung list ng officials, list of members in good standing. We also need the certification from, if it's school-based, of course, we need the certification from the Office of Student Affairs. If it's barangay-based, we need the certification from our barangay captain or from our Sangguniang Kabataan Chair. So yun po yung kailangan, and the constitution and bylaws, yun po yung kailangan namin. So we already have a website for this one. It's www.nycyorp.com. So
Okay.
yun po, dun po sila pwedeng mag-register. For this one, what we do really, sir, is to register yung mga youth organizations natin. First is for database, and at the same time, like if we have trainings and forums to be conducted, our registered youth organizations and youth serving organizations will be prioritized for the said trainings. So
Gaano
yun po
karami na?
talaga.
Gaano karami na?
Gaano karami? Hindi po masyadong marami, sir. Mga around 300 plus. Kasi sa Region 7, yung ating na-register is around 24. For Region 8, around 47. So hindi po siya hindi pa po marami yung mga nagre-register na youth organizations natin. So it's also one of our challenges, and may LGU based na din po
Okay,
itong youth organization registration natin, sir.
Anong update ng mandatory act? Pag President Duterte, mukhang uphill battle under the next administration. Hopefully not.
Ayon sa mandatory ROTC, sir, actually it's one of the policy recommendations of our commissioner at large, Roland Giancarlo Cardema, and we were also asked about that dun sa ating mandatory ROTC. It's supported by NYC na sana magkaroon muna po tayo ng mandatory ROTC. Ibalik po yung ROTC sa lahat ng universities and SUCs in the country. So yun po yung isang pinaglalaban po ni Commissioner Cardema.
And ano status ngayon ito? Niluluto pa or hindi pa maluto or hihintayin ng susunod na luluto nito?
I think linuluto na po ito, sir. Kasi nasubmit na po ito sa Congress din. We're still waiting for updates from our lawmakers kung ano na po yung action taken in terms of the policy recommendation that we have submitted to them.
One of your greater challenges, if I may be bold enough to say it, would it be correct to say na you have a hard time engaging with student councils, or only certain student councils, colleges and universities give you a hard time?
Actually, sir, in terms of the SSC, we have a good partnership for some SSC here in Region 7.
Okay.
Especially in Cebu Normal University, sila po yung palaging nag-i-invite sa NYC in terms of their programs, projects, and activities. But for some universities here in Cebu and for Region 7 and 8, konti po yung nagre-register sa NYC din na mga organizations in terms of the student government councils that they have.
But you can actually, what you're saying is mas konti ang mahirap kausapin kaysa yung madaling makipagsamahan.
Yes po, sir. Opo. We
Napipili
already
lang. Napipili lang. You can identify in short which student councils are very difficult to talk to.
Oh yes, we already have we already have a directory for that, sir. And for some naman madali naman silang kausap. Konti lang, sir, konti lang po yung hindi masyadong
Okay.
opo.
In your own point of view, Athena, why is this? How serious could we say that because they are run by leftist advocates, kaya mahirap kausapin, or meron silang sariling agenda? And are they really, I mean, how serious is the communist threat as far as the youth is concerned?
Okay, sir. I think it has something to do with also yung ideologies nila. And yung iba talaga may ibang pananaw sa ating head sa NYC. So they also have for some, they don't really like yung mga policy agenda ng ating mga officials. Kaya ganun po. But in terms of yung mga programs, projects, and activities ng NYC, sa mga ibang youth organizations naman, they are really very active in supporting the NYC. For some din, hindi din po. So I think sa insurgency, yung tanong niyo po regarding dun sa insurgency, we find this one, sir, as a serious concern also. That's why the National Youth Commission partnered with a group of peace building advocates, yung International Association of Youth and Students for Peace. So for the month of May until November, sir, we have a peace building summit, yung regional youth forum na sinasabi natin, the role of patriotic youth in peace, in nation building. So actually, sir, ipa-plug ko na rin po, on May 15 to 16 we will have a peace building summit via Zoom for Region 7. So we are inviting all our youth organizations, Sangguniang Kabataan, youth serving organizations, our youth development officers of our LGUs to please attend our regional youth forum this May 15 to 16. May DILG memorandum na rin po ito, DILG MC 2021-48. So all are really encouraged to join this peace summit, kasi nakikita din po natin na kailangan nating i-educate yung mga kabataan natin in terms of the recruitment of our young people sa ating mga sa mga ating leftist groups. So dito po, it's really an IEC on how to avoid that, how to avoid being recruited, and how to really, kung ano po ba ang patriotic youth na sinasabi natin.
Athena,
So malalaman natin dito.
Tatanong ko to sa inyo, no, kasi we seem to see the red or the leftists in terms of the insurgency, but on the ideological plane, I don't know if anybody is actually talking directly, challenging the ideology of communism. Hindi lang in terms of the insurgency, no, na yung sinasabi nilang kasi leftist ganito. The question that should really be asked is, what's wrong with being a communist? I think that should be the issue that the NYC or even government should be answering. Kasi pag sinabi mo lang red tagging, leftist ka, progressive, activist, this is all just a veil to cover up communism per se. So wala yatang sumasagot talaga dun sa issue na what's wrong with communism. I think that should be the question that should really be answered so that talagang magkaharapan na.
Yes po, sir. Okay, I think, sir, that's a very nice suggestion. Since we're going to conduct this naman May 15 to 16, I'm going to suggest this, what you have mentioned, sir.
Kasi ano ito, ideological, di ba? Kaya
Yes,
nga,
sir.
ideological kasi idea. And then lahat na lang yan, talagang sumusunod sa isang idea, di ba? Sabi nga nila, the hardest part is when an idea has become already timely. Pero itatanong ko to sa iyo, Athena, kasi we have only about 3 minutes left. In other countries, and I'd like to take a page from, let's say, the United States, meron silang young Democrats in every college or university. Meron silang young Republicans. Okay. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, are you thinking about putting up NYC coordinators per university or per college? And then you work out some kind of an organization that it becomes a NYC organization. And then you can touch base with them, and then you can even help them in downloading all your other programs. Pero as of now, wala kayong NYC coordinators, ano?
Wala po, sir.
Oh, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
It's a good suggestion, sir. You gave us an idea, sir, on how we're going to really reach out with our young people in the school, in our
kasi-
universities. Yes, sir.
Tapos volunteerism naman to eh. So hindi magagalaw yung budget natin, ano? But
Yes,
the point
sir.
is, meron kayong tao sa sa NYC that is recognized by NYC, background check nyo, tapos they're good students, they're good student leaders, and then they become NYC coordinators, and then eventually they can form a NYC organization.
Yes, po, sir.
Which can help out with NYC National, and then lahat na ng programa pwede nang i-download more or less sa kanila para itulong technical, whatever help, di ba?
Yes
do you
po,
think?
sir. Yes, it's a very good suggestion, sir. And magta-touch base na until the grassroots pag ganito po yung tawag nito. Pag ganito po yung structure that we have a coordinator in every university or in every LGU for that matter.
Oo, kasi from my own perspective kasi, when we engage the youth into government, they act like government already. They forget that they're
Yes.
still youth, they're youth, and that there is the excitement of youth, and that means new ideas, the ideology of democracy, of liberty, ano ba yung pinaglaban-laban ng ating bansa, bakit naging republika
Yes.
tayo at hindi tayo naging komunista, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Kasi kung ganun kagaling ang komunista, dapat sa simula ng pagtatag ng republika, dapat naging People's Republic of the Philippines na tayo, naging republika tayo. So there must be a reason to all this, no?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so ano pa ang mga programa ang meron ng NYC na gusto mong ipaalam sa atin that you could tell us before our time runs out?
Yes, we're also advocating the Philippine Youth Development Plan, wherein this is the basis of the local youth development plans of our SK. So, sir, we also monitor our youth development plans in every LGU if it's really being implemented. Kasi binibreak na po natin yung idea about SKs that the SKs are for paliga or pa-beauty pageant. So since 2019 po, we already have what we call the local youth development plan, wherein this is the basis also of the SKs in implementing their programs, projects, and activities. So yun po yung isa nating programa, wherein with the PYDP kasi, yung issues na na-identify natin in terms of our young people is we have issues on education, on environment, on employment, on global mobility, on social inclusion and equity, health, active citizenship, peace building, and security. So yun po yung na-identify nating mga issues and concerns. So with the local youth development plan, it is encouraged and it is mandated with the RA 10742 that our SKs should implement programs, projects, and activities with the issues that I have mentioned and in terms of the Philippine Youth Development Plan. So yun po yung talagang ginagawa natin ngayon. We monitor if these plans are being implemented by our young people, sir.
Okay, so kung just in case, hopefully if things improve better, you'll be able to come back to Cebu and
Yes, sir.
personally engage with Region 7 and Region 8. Final words in Bisaya. Baka may gusto kong sabihin in Bisaya.
Ako sir, mahirap po yung in Bisaya. But I would like to say daghang salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin sa imong programa sir, and it's really an opportunity and it's really an honor to be here in this show. So hopefully this is not the last time na magkita-kita tayo sir.
Surely, surely. Basta kayo, walang problema. You have my support 150%. Yan po ang kabuuan ng ating programang Politics and Beyond. Nais ko pong pasalamatan, tawagin ko siyang director, whether she likes it or not, Regional Director Espina Gahite ng NYC, Region 7 at Region 8. And then gusto ko na rin tong, I would like to extend, ito, on a sad note, condolences to the Grand Princess Espina Kiram.
Oh my gosh.
My good friend Prince Omar Kiram, who has been a strong advocate for the return of Sabah to the Philippines, passed away, and we are really truly deeply saddened because he is one patriot. He is a good patriot. He's a good Tausug, and most of all, he's a good Filipino who stood up for the sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. My condolences to the Kiram family. Salam. At yan po kabuuan natin programa. Thank you very much. And Athena, kudos to the NYC. Tagang salamat. Maayong adlaw kaninyong tanan.
Usa ka pagtuo, usa ka tingog, usa ka katawhan.